One of the other major storylines reached a crescendo at the end of episode 7, but the most recent episode of Mobland served as a turning point for the continuing fight between the Harrigans and the Stevensons. A number of significant events transpired in episode 7, the main plot of which was Harry's desperate effort to free Brendan and Safina Harrigan from their captors. Among the most crucial was Jan de Suha, played by Joan Froggatt, who, following his earlier defiance of Conrad in episode 6, did it again. On this occasion, though, there may be grave consequences. Jan departed from the Harrigan manor in order to rendezvous with her companion, Alice, who is D.S. Fisk's undercover agent. Jan had begun to open up to Alice as she began to reflect her own struggles on Jan, which led to their growing intimacy. In episode 7, Conrad sends his other fixer, Paul, to accompany Jan into town to meet Alice. Paul overhears them discussing killers and gangsters, leading him to believe that Jan is divulging Harrigan's secrets, and he confronts them. It was plausible for a time that Jan and Alice's rapid friendship development in their initial interactions was a bit of a stretch. When a lady who was unhappy and cornered in her life met someone her age who shared her interests, she found something they had in common. She seems like the kind of person who could rush headfirst into a friendship. I didn't realize how ridiculous it is that Jan continues to trust Alice to the extent that she has shown until episode 7, when the plot really went off the rails. Jan and Alice are still very much on the outs, as pointed out by Paul and Conrad, but even though the Harrigan Manor is almost a fortress at this time, she leaves the relative protection of there to have a conversation with a buddy who needs someone to talk to, in order to avoid being publicly exposed while a gang war rages on. For the benefit of a woman who isn't even being very discreet anymore in her pursuit of confidential information, she disobeys Conrad, who has previously spoken to her about it, and is clearly insane at this stage. To be honest, Jan now comes off as either naive or purposefully stupid. You can hear and watch Alice clearly steering the conversation in a certain direction as she stops trying to hide her inquiries about Harry and starts asking them directly about Conrad. While Mobland is a fantastic program, it's impossible to follow along with all the characters' decisions without suspending your disbelief. Nevertheless, I am genuinely frustrated by how Jan's story with Alice has veered off the tracks. There will be a satisfying conclusion to this plot point, and it will happen very soon, considering how direct Alice is becoming with her inquisitive questions. Jan and the Harrigans must understand her ultimate goal, given the consequences for rats in Mobland. It appears that Alice's time is running out. Conrad would gladly eliminate her if he weren't so unstable, which has been brought about by Maeve and Rich's schemes. The storyline may become crucial if Alice's exposure and murder were to accelerate Fisk and Misaka's pursuit of the Harrigan crime organization. Not only are the Stevensons not after Jan, but Jan doesn't appear safe either. Maeve has been trying to paint Jan as the sly one in the Harrigan family, and there's no shortage of things Jan has done that Maeve can, and has accused her of leaving the family behind during a conflict, and being caught talking about gangsters by Paul could be the final straw that confirms Maeve's guilt. The amount of time and effort put into the subplot suggests that a resolution to the Mobland finale may be on the horizon.